Hello, good morning. Can you all hear me? If you can hear me, just confirm by clicking the raise hand button. Let me be sure that you all can hear me. All right, that's good. Okay, good. So yeah, welcome to this class, entrepreneurship class for 100 and 200 level students. So let me just do something quickly, just to quickly know exactly those in with. If you are in 100 level, if you're in 100 level, click the raise hand button. Let me see. 100 level. Okay. Awesome. All right. So if you're in 200 level, if you're at 200 level, click the raise hand button. Let me see. Okay, so we're all here. Okay, good. Sounds interesting. Now, I want to ask you whether you were around in the last class, because technology kind of has made life such that even if you missed the last class, you can always catch up because of technology, meaning you can always refer back to the video. But I would just like to ask the question in a different way. If you enjoyed the last class and you learned something, you actually learned something, raise your hand, click the raise hand button. Okay, good feedback. All right, so we must be doing something right then. Okay, so let's start with prayer, then we just go in straight into what I'm going to do today. Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, we thank you for this class of entrepreneurship for our 100 level students and 200 level students. Thank you for the lessons we've learned so far. Thank you for the inspiration of the last class, and thank you for what you shared with us today. Thank you, Lord, for the facilitation, for the students, for the coordination. Thank you for the platform given to us, and thank you for the blessings that come along with it. We give you glory in Jesus' name. I ask you, Lord, that you bless us in this class and you inspire each of us to make some moves with our lives to make the most of it, and that your name be praised in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so let's just go straight to the class. Before we start, I'll just share a few things by means of information, okay? And that's what I'll be doing here. Okay, so first of all, like you can see on the screen, because I noticed that a number of persons were trying to catch up with the YouTube video that's for the last class. So you can follow me on YouTube. That's my name there on YouTube, Stephen Oluwatobi. So that for those who missed the video, you can always share that with them. So I encourage you to subscribe, particularly because of other videos that I've put there. So there are some conversations I've had with some entrepreneurs recently, that's in the past 4 weeks, which are purely around entrepreneurship. So you could take time out during your spare time to share and to learn from my conversations with some of them. I use the Zoom platform to have conversations with them. So you learn things about entrepreneurship, women entrepreneurship, teamwork, building trust among teams, and all that. So from some of the brightest entrepreneurs we have in Nigeria, like the founders of Piggyvest, the founder of Softcore, the founder of Banklink, the founder of Wilson Lemonade, and a number of other organizations. So take them out, you can see that. So subscribe and follow through on that. You can also follow me on social media, like you can see my identities on the screen. Also take note that we're using a Zoom platform and the capacity of the Zoom room is 100. However, this upgraded Zoom feature allows us to also stream on YouTube, which gives us a limitless amount of persons to partake in the class. And we've shared the link to the YouTube room on the chat section. So anyone trying to come in will have the link to access in the class. And if you know any of your colleagues who is trying to get in also, you can also share the link. The link is in the chat section of this Zoom room. Also, I noticed in the last class that a number of you were just posting your matriculation numbers on the chat section on YouTube, and some even in Zoom here. I mean, it's because it's technology. So with technology, a number of things can be taken advantage of. However, as I mentioned in the last class, the real goal is to see how we can make a lot of entrepreneurs. So it's not about just the attendance. Attendance may be important, but it's not the primary objective. So I would like us to give priority to the things that we're doing. So please don't type in the details of your matric number and the rest of the other things, and also for security reasons too, particularly for YouTube. Okay. Now, I believe in the course of this session of the class, you have questions. So take time out to ask your questions through using the Q&A button. So there's a Q&A button in the Zoom room that we're using to take advantage of that fully. In addition to that, okay, I've shared this with you. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and keep in touch with my conversations with leading entrepreneurs, as well as following up with my sessions with you. Meaning, this class is being recorded, so you can always refer back to it. which is a faster way to read. I know a number of you like to buy time and read more by listening or by watching instead of picking books to read. So, I mean, whichever way you learn best, you can take advantage of that. All right. I want to start the class now. And what I'll be sharing with you today is mostly based on feedback from the last class. So if you remember the last class, I'm sure you remember the last class when I shared with you on entrepreneurship as a factor of production. And I shared a number of things. And I know we got to a particular point where I started talking about finding self and the importance of finding self. And I gave some examples. And so from the feedback that I got from that last class, we decided to refer to this class that we're having today, which is about finding yourself and your capacity to give value, which is what entrepreneurship really is about. You know, I mentioned in the last class that the best kind of businesses to build is the ones that are built around your personality, your core, your talents, your capabilities, who you really are, what you easily resonate with. That's the best to really build it, because there's a self-driven engine already inside you called passion that can help you and guide you to do a lot more with the things they are doing. So for doing such things, you don't need lots of push. So the class we're having today is based on the feedback from the last class. This particular class actually should have been taken in your alpha semester, looking at our new improved curriculum. But we just had the go ahead with this particular curriculum after the alpha semesters. That's why it wasn't delivered to you then. But from the feedback of the last class, it was necessary to go ahead with this and share with you guys so that you can begin to build up on it. So I hope you guys will take advantage of this and actually optimize it, because the goal of this particular class is to help you find yourself, your giving capacity, and how can you build a business around your core. Before we proceed, let me just quickly introduce Mr. Damilola Awolaja. He's the one with the CEDS identity here, coordinating the EDS class. So we'll be helping to manage a number of things and helping to follow up with the questions and other things. So if you have any question and all that, I don't mean for the class now, maybe anything technical, you can always chat it privately using the chat section for that. Okay, so I think we can proceed as quickly as we can. All right. Just a few seconds and then we proceed. Okay, so smart PC. Well, some of you wonder what exactly is smart PC. As we advance in the class, I will give you details of what it is. But as the subtitle of the class suggests, it is basically based on finding yourself and your giving capacity. I quietly mentioned in the last class that entrepreneurship is about prosperity, and prosperity really is about value, opportunities, and wealth. So the real core assignment of an entrepreneur is to create prosperity. And so to create prosperity, he's supposed to create value. Value is what people really want and possibly are willing to pay for. They really want it. The shoes you're putting on, or the clothes you're putting on, or the house you live, or the car you drive, or anything you want to buy, ice cream, whatever it is, that's value. You are paying for it because you value it. So entrepreneurs create value, in whatever form it might be, a product or a service, software, whatever it is. And another thing the entrepreneur does is he creates opportunities. So in the process of creating value, he sees the need for expansion and has to create opportunities in the process. Opportunities in this case could be job opportunities, could be business opportunities, could be market opportunities, could also be investment opportunities, because the entrepreneur builds a platform to give opportunities to investors to make their money work for them. And the third thing here is on wealth. So the entrepreneurs, in the process of doing all these things, that is creating value and creating opportunities, they also create wealth in the process. So in summary, those three things I categorized as prosperity. So prosperity for this class is value, opportunities, and wealth. But in doing these things, there is what the entrepreneur needs to focus on. So some persons think entrepreneurship is just find something, start something, and just do something. While that is smooth and easy, there is a tendency for not doing well in it. So we have statistics letting us know that most entrepreneurs fail from from day one. And businesses usually that are started by entrepreneurs don't last. Most of them don't make it to their third year. And of course, a number of factors are responsible for that. One of it is the lack of understanding of the relationship between the core identity of oneself and what one should be doing more comfortably. And so I'll just start by some introduction. My introduction here is centered around some cases that I showed you the last time, all right? And that is on this. I know a number of you know this guy. So Kevin Hart, he just got recovered from some accident and he's doing really well. He's back doing fine. A number of you know him as an entrepreneur, or rather, a number of you know him as a comedian. But I see him a lot more as an entrepreneur because he's both a comedian and an entrepreneur. His core passion basically is to make people laugh. He likes to make people laugh. He's naturally funny. Some of his techniques in making people laugh could be childish, but he still makes people laugh. But behind the scene, what he's doing with that is he's creating a lot of value. Many people are trying to relieve stress of themselves by listening to people like him who make people laugh. And as he does that, he builds a business around it. He makes money from it. Don't allow his stature fool you or his comedy fool you. This guy has made millions of dollars from his talent. And from that amount of money, he's investing in real estate. He's building an empire around the things that he does. Basically, what he's doing, whether it's be comedy and all that, even look at the films that that he acts in. It's all, including the ones that you might consider serious. It's all around comedy, basically making people laugh. And figuring out all that, he has built a business empire around it, and he makes lots of money from what he does and has built a business around it. So he's a comedian, but more importantly, he's an entrepreneur. And he has done that from his identity, which obviously must have come from his knowledge and understanding of self and the ability to appreciate himself. That he might not be tall, but he can make people laugh. And with that, he embraces himself, and other people respect him for what he does and for who he is. And he makes money from that identity. So this also expresses the need to understand exactly who you are. And why, as an entrepreneur, you should be able to figure out who you are and build an empire around it. The next person I'm looking at, which some of you might know, is Jay-Z. So Jay-Z started his career as a rapper. Of course, he grew up in the projects, if you know his story. He was found out by another top rapper, and he started to rap, made some money from rapping and releasing records, started his own record company, which is what entrepreneurs do, made lots of money from that, and started to use that such resources to invest in other areas. He's recognized as one of the billionaires in the US right now and in the world. So everything began from, of course, his identity, what he found out that he was good at, and he stuck to that, and he built a business around that core. And he has now become an investor, but he started from somewhere. So the whole idea here is to start from where you are with what you have. We always have something to start with. No one is left with nothing. Each of us has something to start with. It may not be money, it could be a talent. In the case of Jay-Z, it was a talent. In the case of Kevin Hart, it was a talent. Some of you also know this guy. This is his picture while he was young. He's way older than the picture looks now. This is Michael Jordan. So Michael Jordan started his career as a basketballer. Of course, that has taught him a number of sports, including baseball, then basketball. He was told that he couldn't do much, even in the game of basketball, until he had some deep form of expressions while in school. Well, to cut the long story short, he started doing basketball. He was discovered. He joined the Chicago Bulls, became their really star player, and he is considered the legendary basketballer of all times. And he has made huge fortune from playing the game of basketball, which is what he really loves. To show that it's not even about whether he was doing it for work or for the money. He still trains a lot of people, young people, even kids, how to play basketball. There was a particular time in his career that he stopped playing basketball and he went to play baseball. Maybe just to honor his dad, because his dad taught him about baseball then. And his dad, also appreciated the game of baseball. But he wasn't the legendary star in baseball like he was in basketball. So this just explains that there's a place that it shouldn't be. I mean, if you're a fish, just stay in the water and excel there. If you're an eagle, just stay there and just dwell there. He returned back to basketball, and then he got his stardom back. The idea is, what's your core? Who are you exactly? And how can you build an empire around your identity? Some of you also know this person. This is Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey just knew that she loved the cameras. She loved to be on TV, but she wasn't sure of exactly what area of TV. So she was doing the news, but she wasn't performing well doing the news until she was given the task of handling a show. And then she found out, oh, yes, I love the cameras, but this is the kind of thing I like to do on camera, not to be serious kind of news, but helping people, happy by sharing news, things around entertainment, lifestyle, and the rest of that. And that's what she does. She's recognized as one of the top leading Black billionaires in the world today, and she's done a lot more. But where did it start? It started from her passion. So it's around your core and knowing and understanding who you are and building an empire around your identity. And the goal of this class is to give you an intro into what that is, and also make some moves in accordance. And some of you know this guy, Tyler Perry. So Tyler Perry also same thing. He also loved the cameras, but he was more concerned about creating content. So he had tried a number of things and all that, and created this identity called Madea. This was his core interest in making people happy through entertainment. But he wanted to go from just being the actor to being the content creator. Just last year, he launched the largest movie studio in the world, called the Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta. But it started from, I recommend you check his story. It started from him beginning from the basics, figuring out who he was, and doing the things that he loved to do, which is acting, directing movies, creating content. And most of the movies he writes from his past. So somehow all things work together for good, because he uses some of his experiences as a childhood to create some of the stories that he writes, and also puts in form of movies. So these guys have figured out who they are, and they've been able to build empires around that. And as we go on in the class, I'll be able to show you the connection between understanding who you are and also how that breeds confidence and also entrepreneurship as a whole. Some of you already know this. Well, not some of you. All of you already know who this is. So this is the Chancellor of the university. He loves to talk. He loves to preach the gospel. He loves to share the word of God. He figured out that that's who he was. And he has built everything around that understanding of self. So everything he does now is centered around that. So whether he's in church, he's doing that. Whether he's in Covenant University, he's doing that. Everywhere he goes, he's preaching the gospel. That's what he loves to do. And he has built an empire around that identity. All right. So who are you? This class is supposed to help us figure that out, and then we can make some progress as we go along. So let's just drive back in deeply into the class. That is just me sharing an introduction for us to figure out exactly what this is about. Now let's just advance. There are some facts that I've discovered from successful people, some that I've read, some I've met. I'm a very keen observer. I always like to observe people. I may not be close to someone, but I always love to observe people, and I learn a lot from, whether they're older than me, younger than me, or the same age or same age group. I love to learn from people. So these are my observations from successful people that I've learned from, right? And I found out that from the way they live, some of which I've learned from them, and I'm practicing a number of the things that I've seen them do, is that really no one is left with nothing. Each one of us, we have at least something to start from where we are. We have at least something. And the way God also made us, we also have something. And I can show you even biblical references to even show you that. You see, from the woman who, the widow of Zarephath, who said that she had nothing, was going to eat her last meal and die. She had something to multiply, right? Jesus had water to turn to wine. There's always the 5 loaves and 2 fishes to feed the 5,000. There's always something to start with. The woman whose 2 sons were given as collateral by her husband before he died. That's the 2 widows. I mean, the widow, the prophet's widow, who came to meet Elisha and asked for an opportunity to be to have a problem solved. And he asked her a question, "What do you have?" She said nothing until she said she had a cruse of oil, and that was what saved her. That multiplied, and she met a lot of needs. So we have something. For Joseph, it was his ability to interpret dreams. That was what got him lots of respect in Potiphar's house. That was what earned him the connection between the cupbearer and the baker that was in the prison. And that was the gift that took him to meet Pharaoh, which earned him the position of prime minister in Egypt. So each of us, there's always something, right? We are never left with nothing. There's always something. There's always something. Abraham was going to sacrifice his only son, right? But there was something there, a ram somewhere around the thicket. So as entrepreneurs, we should cultivate the ability to find out where is that something. What is that thing that others can't see that I need to see to start from where I am with what I have, right? Another fact is this, the more you discover yourself, the more you are fueled to make progress, because the discovery of self gives you some level of confidence to begin to take some steps, because naturally man doesn't make any move or step until he has some form of confidence to give him the courage to make some moves, right? Another third fact I figured out is that of all the assets you have, you are the main asset, because if you are lost, every other thing that you think you have is lost. You are the main asset. The brain that will do all the calculation, the strategy, the planning, the giftings, the coordination, it's all you. It's all on you. You are your main asset. And that's how God sees us, right? So you need to recognize that you are your main asset, so you can know where exactly should I make the most investment. I learned something from Warren Buffett, who is, I think, the third wealthiest person in the world now. He said the real investment is not investing in stocks, because the way he built his empire is by buying lots of stocks, buying companies, buying shares in companies. But someone who has done so much like that, said that the real investment is investing in self, investing in yourself, investing in people, that you are your main asset. As soon as you can figure that out clearly, then you can know how best to invest in other things that you consider assets, all right? Now, another fact is whatever you do with your main assets, which is you, determines what comes to you and what goes from you. That is the extent of value that you'll be able to create, and the extent of opportunities you can attract to yourselves, and the extent of wealth that really comes to you. Okay, that is really, really crucial. Now, also have this in your mind, that the more you engage your main assets, that's you, the more valuable you become, right? So there is this ideology that whatever you don't use, you will lose. Many talents you don't continually engage, you can't refine. In fact, the whole idea of training is to keep refining your gifts. So the more you engage your main assets, that's you, the more valuable you become. The more valuable you become, okay? And it applies in every field, whether it's sports, whether it's business, whether it's work, whether it's starting a company, or whether being a professional, whatever it is, you have to keep engaging. Now, another fact is you are your number one leverage, right? So leverage is basically taking advantage of what you can access to give you enough mileage, enough speed. So instead of accomplishing things in years, you can accomplish things in days or in minutes. People can be leverages. You are your number one leverage. Your money could be leverage, right? So this just to give you like some basics. Now, another fact is that it's a worthwhile task to find yourself and your given capacity. So if adventurers will explore just to find oil, explore for days and weeks and years just to look for oil, crude oil, or to look for gold, or to find something, how much more you? You are more of a bigger asset than those things, those treasures. So the moment you begin to recognize that you are so valuable, you need to look for and explore really who you are, and build an empire around your identity as God has designed each of us to be. Then you begin to take the actual steps to figure out exactly who you are on that. Now, why is it important to figure out who you are? The more of yourself you discover, the more confidence you have, and the more actions you take, and the more convictions you have, right? And the more steps you can take in life, and the more you attract the right people, the more you repel the wrong people, right? The more you become a propellant, the more you become an asset, the more you become valuable, and the more people value you, and the more people pay for your worthiness, and the richer you become. So this is just the flow. Where did it begin? Find yourself. And you know, I'm sure you've seen people who just make some bold steps and make some big steps to accomplish big things, and you wonder, where did the guy get the courage from? He understands who he is. She understands who she is. Courage comes from a very good understanding of who you are. And so the more of yourself you discover, That's why I started with that. The more confidence you have. It's not that there won't be fear. There could be some form of fear, but there is courage to move despite fear, right? So that's how it works. So there are some 10 extracts I picked out from that statement that I shared with you. The first there is confidence, right? The ability to move despite fear or despite the need of opposition. The next is action. Entrepreneurship is about taking action. True entrepreneurs are action driven. It's not just about talking about it. Enough talk, take action, right? Too much words don't make things happen. That is just talking. You don't just talk, you take action, right? And you need confidence to take action, right? You also need conviction. Conviction is about being fully persuaded about doing what you're doing. No matter how people say, oh, it can't work, you are convinced, you have a strong conviction that it's going to work. I mean, when Steve Jobs started the whole idea around the iPad and they shipped the first iPad, lots of commentaries and reviews said that this is complete nonsense. How can someone create this? Is this a laptop? Is this a bigger, they even abused and called it a bigger iTouch. Then it was called the iPod. They just gave it all manner of names, but this guy was convinced that this was the future because this was like the first really mainstream known tablet device. And so he was given lots of names. So as an entrepreneur, you need some form of conviction, but that comes from the understanding of self. And I recommend that you watch the commencement ceremony speech of Steve Jobs when he took in Stanford. That's 2005. I believe it's about 15 minutes. You will learn a lot of things from his speech there. You get to know some things about Steve Jobs, one of the legendary entrepreneurs, the founder of Apple, which makes the Mac, the iPod, the iTouch, the iPad, the iTunes there. Also, some other extracts here is steps. So life is about adventure. You don't just take one step and you think you're there. No, you have to keep taking steps. Usually we find people, do really well, they excel and they come down is because they just think it's about one step. It's about more steps. You just have to keep moving, keep moving. Mark Zuckerberg, in one of his videos that I saw, he was sharing something really remarkable. He said, while he was asked by the interviewer that, so how did you guys, make it happen from the beginning that you're right where you are? And what he said was, we just get moving. And one day we figured out that we are not where you used to be. And of course, that's how life is. The more steps you take, just keep moving. One day you figure out that you actually know where you used to be because you just kept moving, right? And as you move and you get results, those who love results, those who love things you're doing will like to join you in what you're doing. So you're attracting the right people, right? And this is how you build genuine followership. This is how you build a community. And this is how you're able to raise other people to become leaders as well. And at the same time, you repel the wrong people because some persons that all they know how to do is make comments to say he thinks is the best and all that. So you just know that these guys are not the people that you need to work with and you don't need them in your circle, right? So your actions piss certain people off and you repel the wrong people. You don't even need those kinds of persons. You need persons who are proactive, who are optimists, who like to see things happen. I would like to join you in making those things happen. I'm seeing some hands being raised. Can you use the Q&A button if it's a question you'd like to ask? I hope so. And for anyone, Dami, I think you should also help me coordinate for the YouTube stream in case anyone is trying to get in. I think you should repost in case the link has gone up or down. Just keep putting there. And for the students already in the Zoom room, please share with your colleagues who are trying to get in also, whether through WhatsApp or whatever means with which you communicate with them so that we don't lose anybody. All right. So as I shared before, you're your number one leverage. Start from where you are with what you have, right? The journey of entrepreneurship is that you will never have everything you need to start. So you just have to start from where you are, what you have, right? If it's your talent, you start. If it's one area, you start. I mean, if you really study the biographies of entrepreneurs, you find out that not all of them had all that they need to start. So if you're waiting till you have everything you need to start, you will never start because usually that doesn't really happen. You just have to move. As you move, those who believe what you're doing, join you on the journey, support what you're doing. An investor will not invest in just an abstract idea. He wants to see that you have moved, meaning that he's not investing in the idea, he's investing in you because he sees that an idea cannot bring itself to life. It's people that bring ideas to life. So it's when you are moving and you're getting results, you're getting some form of traction that investor says, oh, okay, my money can be a waste because this guy is a hustler. This guy can make things happen. So it's worth investing in. So you have to move even before funds begin to come along your way. right? This is to say you're your number one leverage. So start from where you are to what you have. So what's the Smart PC about? I'm going to share that with you, right? I created this tool to help find oneself and also to figure out what your giving capacity is, because entrepreneurship is about giving and profiting from your giving, okay? So I also need you to note that you have to be sincere with yourself, because they are in form of questions, okay? Your ability to be sincere to yourself and answer these questions will help you not only find you, but also unlock your creative and productive abilities, right? So they are not just mere statements. As simple as they are very deep. And I believe that as you do that, you should be able to figure out who you are. There are questions that you will have to keep answering for the rest of your life if you want to keep increasing your value and your worth. So it's not one time, it's something you have to keep doing. But because of the timing of this class, we might not be able to engage as I would have loved us to engage. So I'll just run through them. However, I'm going to do like a workshop on this free for those of you. I'm going to share a link very soon before the class is over, which you can sign up on, and we can send you an email as soon as you find an appropriate time where we can practically engage and you hack yourself to figure out more deeply. All right, so this is the first question. It's the question of self-discovery, and it says, who am I? Just 3 statements, who am I? Just take some few seconds to reflect about that. Who are you? Who exactly are you? This question basically helps us to go deep into our very core, our very identity, what our passions and drives are, what drives us, what we think we stand for, what we're willing to die for. Who are you? Who am I? Who am I? I mean, it's a question that you have to keep answering every single day. But for every time you ask that question and you genuinely try to answer them to deep into your very core, you somehow summon the courage and fuel to take your life more seriously and to invest your time and moments more seriously. Okay. Like I said, we're still going to do a workshop to drill deep on this. We'll go more in details on that. But I just need to share this across to work within the time that we have for the class. We can do something more detailed. And by the way, the workshop I'm talking about is not EDS class. It's just to see how whoever is interested, we could help take that all through. The next question is the question of mission. Why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I in Covenant University? Why am I on earth? What am I here to do? Jesus Christ came on earth to save the world. The chancellor always said that the reason why he's considered himself on the earth is because he's here to liberate mankind from all oppression of the devil, right? Some persons believe that here on earth to make people happy. Why am I here? Why exactly am I here? This is a question of mission. What you need to keep pursuing every single day. Why am I here? Why exactly am I here? You have to keep asking these questions all the time. Now, the next question is question of assignment. To do what? What am I to do? So this is like breaking down the mission into tasks. What am I to do daily? Is it to write? If I'm to make people happy, how am I to do that? Is it to do skits, to do short videos, to make text, to post tweets, or to write a book, or to talk to someone, or to set up a class, or to have a blog, or to have a YouTube channel, or something? To do what? I mean, these are actionable stuff. I mean, you need to sit down and really hack yourself. If the process of looking for gold is such that people carry gadget equipment, they go for days, weeks, months, years just to find gold, I think you're what more valuable than gold. And you should invest the necessary time and tools and resources to really dig deep into who you are. The next question is, with what will I get it done? That's the assignment. You know, we said the first question is, who am I? The next question is, why am I here? The next is to do what? Now, with what are you going to do that? And that's the question of resource. And this basically talks about what your talents are. So what are those things you've seen about yourself that you know you're extremely good at? You like to sing, okay, write it down. You like to write, put it down. You like to sing, or you like to make people happy, or you like to play football, or you like to dance. Somehow, everything, even if it doesn't make sense, there is a connection between that and what you've been called to do. I got to know about a guy yesterday who what he does is just he paints and he draws. As simple as drawing, he has made a fortune from that process. So is it to draw, to sketch? Is it that your brain is wired to that you just love programming? What are the things that you can consider your resource? What are your resources? You have at least one. The Bible confirms to us that we have at least one. Each of us will have at least one. Unto one, they gave 5 talents, unto another 2, unto another 1. Each of us will have at least one. So what's yours? You like to make people happy? You like to bring people together? You like to connect people with people? What is it? No matter how simple it looks like, there is a lot of fortune in the simplicity of your gifts. That is how God has designed us specially. There is no one that has nothing. Each of us has at least something. Some of you have more than one. But take the time out to find out what exactly is it and how can you build a fortune around it. At the introduction, I give you an example of the likes of Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, Malcolm Jordan, Jay-Z, Kevin Hart, the Chancellor. Look at these people. They figured out what their resources are. So what are your own resources? What are your talents? Those are the things that God has given us to contribute, to create value, and to do something really interesting with our lives. Now, the 5th question is how long? For how long are you going to do this? Right? This is a question of time. For Jesus Christ, he did his own in 3.5 years. Right? At 30, he started his ministry, and in 3.5 years, he did it, his stuff. So for how long? How much time do you have to get it done? How many decades will it take you to get it done? When do you even want to start? And how long will you get it done? Now, these are all the questions, and that's where the acronym of SMART PC came in. I shared at the beginning that I will tell you where the word SMART PC came from, right? So these are the questions all put in one, right? Who am I? That's a question of self-discovery. Why am I here? That's a question of mission. To do what? That's a question of assignment. With what? That's a question of resource. For how long? That's a question of time. So that's where the word SMART came from. P there represents purpose, and C, canvas. So SMART, purpose, canvas. That's SMART PC. That's where it came from. Okay. That's just to guide us. So I created a tool to help work with that. Don't worry, I can hear in my inside that some of you are saying that was too fast. Can you possibly have taken it back? But you can always refer back to the video to see the things that you need to make reference to, and pause and replay and listen and grab a lot of things that you need to grab. Okay. Now, some key things to note here before we go to the tool. As I mentioned, I will share the link very soon for those who would like to go more, because here I'm just talking about the SMART PC. But more importantly is to be able to use the tool and use that to really hack yourself and find yourself. Some key terms to note here. The first is resources. Of course, this is coming from the R of the SMART PC. This refers to your talents, your capabilities, your natural equipment, your natural abilities, your relationships, your networks, your contacts, your education, your training, your experiences, your professionalism. Somehow God has given you all these to make a fortune. Your equipment, your natural equipment, your natural abilities, things that you just do with ease. I would like you to even make a list of those to help yourself. I'm not giving that as an assignment, but I'm giving that as an assignment to yourself. What exactly are your capabilities, your talents? Make a list of them. Even look at your relationships. And this will also guide you as to know whether you're even in the right relationships or you have the right friends, because you are the average of the 5 persons that you are usually connected with. So if you don't like your present average, raise your average by changing the 5 persons, because you'll be the average of the 5 that you always hang around with, right? So look at your relationships. Will they get you there? If not, you change them, right? We all have relationships. They're supposed to be assets, not liabilities. Your networks as well, your contacts, your education, what you're studying in Covenant University, the things you've taught yourself, whatever it is, okay? So those are your resources. Now, assignments, which is the A on the SMART PC. I'm basically trying to define these things to you so that you can know them. So when you are trying to use the SMART PC tool, you are doing it with understanding, and you're using it really to help yourself. So assignment, this refers to what your resources are used for. So say, for instance, sort of things you figured out is that you like to write, or you like to share something, you like to talk to people about something. So what is that thing that you like to talk about? So that is a pointer to what your assignment is. What is that thing you like to talk about? What's that problem that when you see it kind of hurts you, you just want to do something about it, right? So your assignment is what your resources were designed to solve. If, for instance, your resource is a hammer, right? What does a hammer do? That's the assignment of the hammer. So if You like to write. What is the assignment for writing? There are many authors who have solved the world's problem from their writing, and their writings have become movies, and they're now impacting the world through movies, through the writings that they've made, right? So what exactly is yours? What problems do your talents solve? That's a pointer to what your assignment is. What tasks call for the attention of your talents and your gifts that when something happens, you just want to move? What are those things? That's a pointer to what your assignments are. What activities demand and engage your talents? What tasks engage them? What tasks make use of them? Where is it that when you go to, or when you do it, you just feel like a fish in the water? You are just in your zone. Those are pointers to your assignments. Okay. Now, mission here is the M on the smart PC, right? This covers what your purpose is, your reason for living, right? What you mean to the world. It is what your resources tell you that you mean. Okay. It is what your assignment informs you about that you exist. It's your core. It's what you're here for. And self-discovery, which is the S on the smart PC, simply talks about the discovery of your very core, what makes you really you, and the values, your habits, your patterns, your culture, and your drive. As I mentioned initially, it's basically about what you stand for, what you live for, what drives you, and what keeps you going, no matter what's happening. And time, of course, talks about opportunity, the duration of space you have to make that impact. To take that action, to develop your talents, to refine yourself, to get ready. So I remember one of the things I learned in my undergraduate days during TMC, because I also graduated from Covenant University in 2007. One of the things I learned from TMC is about phases of life. And I remember it was shared in that class that the first phase of life between age 0 and age 29, that's the first phase. Those are the preparatory years, where you're preparing. And scriptural facts were even used to back this up, and I've evolved since some of them myself. The next phase is age 30 to age 65. That's the manifestation phase. So your age 0 to age 29 those are the years where you're preparing, where you're reading, you're studying, you're preparing yourself. Even Jesus did the same thing. From age 0 to 29, he was learning, he was studying, he was preparing for the manifestation phase. So at age 30, he manifested. That's when you come out and you begin to make your impact and begin to make things happen. Age 30 to age 65. That's your duration of time to make like maximum impact, real massive impact. By age 65, you should be passing the baton to the next generation, mentoring other people, showing them your secrets of success, the things that you failed from and how they should not fail in such things, the things you succeeded in and why they should succeed in it, right? So the way to live is to say, what kind of legacy will I leave for the next generation? But that journey begins from the preparatory phase, then the manifestation phase, and then at the legacy phase, right? So, and everything can only be accomplished in time. The rich guy has 24 hours every day. The poor guy has 24 hours every day. The failure has 24 hours every day. The success has 24 hours every day. So it's all the same time. But the question is, what did you do with it? Of course, the rich uses his own 24 hours differently than the poor man. It has been proven with facts that those who don't value time and have no respect for it usually are poorer than those who have value for it. In fact, if you're very close to wealthy people, and those who have very strong mindsets, you see the way they talk about time. They are always itching for time. They can partner with money just to protect their time. So you have to value time. Your life is your time. It's called lifetime. So you have to value it extremely well. All right. So there is a time in your life when your energies are high enough to pursue your purpose and mission, and which is the phase you are in right now. That's a time and window of opportunity you don't want to miss or waste. There is a time also that you may not be strong enough on your own to pursue your purpose when you're old. The Bible puts it this way: remember now the Lord your God in the days of your youth. So your energies in your youth, you have to do big things while in your youth. When you start getting old, it's only dreams that you have, no energy to pursue them. So this is the best time to really make a lot use of your time. So how do I use the Smart PC? Here's the Smart PC here. First of all, let's go. So the Smart PC is a canvas that is designed to help individuals, organizations hack themselves and find themselves. So the following diagram, I'll be showing that. This is just a sketch of it here, right? So each segment of the canvas has been named and numbered accordingly. So Let's just go straight to the canvas. So this is it. Okay. I've told you what it is. The S is self-discovery, M is mission, A assignment, R resource, T time. Now, start with resource. And the assignment I'm going to give you, I mentioned it earlier on, and I'm not asking you to submit this. I'm asking you to do this for yourself. Start with grade 1. That's resource 1. Make a list of all the things that you think you have as a resource. Your talents, your relationships, what you think you've learned, your skills, those things that that resonate with you, that you're really good at. Make a list of those things. Let's start with that first, because that's where to begin. Those answers to that gives us insights to other things. Then from then on, we're able to point to what can we use those things for. This leads us to assignment, okay? And from then on, we can link up with what your core mission is. In the process, you're actually finding yourself, right? And from then on, we can actually discover self and define what your values are, what you stand for, what you live for, what you're willing to die for, what you're willing to live for, and how much you're willing to accomplish in life, and also time, and what you really want to do within that phase of time. So you plan your life effectively, that by 25, I should have done this. By 30, I should have done this. By 35, I should have done this. By 40, I should have done this. At this phase, I want to go full-time into my own core business and begin to mentor other people. I want to set up a platform for this. All right? Okay. From the use of the canvas, you will see that you have something to start with, right? And which is you. You will also discover how much capacity you have to give to the world, as well as your potential to generate wealth. So this will enlighten and trigger you to take your life more seriously and more valuable in and out of you. Now, take note. This class basically is entrepreneurship and self-discovery and the relationship between that. And I started with an introduction just to help you see this. And that's the perspective with which I want you to view it. You need to crack your identity code. That's how important it is. Because you need to get into yourself and find out where your juice is. Find out your juice. Find out your feel. Find out your passion. Find out your core. Find out what your resources are. And garner the confidence and boldness you need to do big things. Of course, there are many things also that you need to do along the way, like you have to keep learning. The more you expose yourself to insights, knowledge, particularly of what successful people have done, that also gives you more juice, fills you a lot more as well. Okay. All right. So what makes you entrepreneurial is your ability to see and recognize your assets, your resources, your talents, as well as unleash them to create your own opportunities and your own wealth. But you determine the realization of your future, which is already in you. You just have to excavate them. The moment you realize that your future, your fortune, your favors are in you, and all you need to do is release them by the discovery of self, that's the moment you know that you're in control and you decide the outcomes of your life. So it's all a journey. And I think it's good to start that journey right now. I hope this class has done something good to you. I will soon go straight to the Q&A section. I don't know what the time is now. Okay, so I think we're still on point, so we can give time to Q&A. So just something to go home with and reflect on. And that's the question on the screen. What's your giving capacity? You'll be able to answer this effectively when you've genuinely and sincerely answered the 5 questions that define the SMART PC. Starting with the question of resource, which is with what? When you know what you have, you know that you have something to give. But oftentimes you feel you're not worthwhile or you don't worth anything because you've not figured out what you have. Take stock of what you have. Then you know that you have something to give. And then you build and sharpen those things and find out who needs those things. And you figure out that there are people who actually are willing to pay you for those things. I mean, the creative director, the first creative director for Pixar. Pixar is an animation studio, the makers of Toy Story 1 to 4, and a number of the Disney movies that we see today, Disney animated movies that we see today. The creative director there was John Lasseter. John Lasseter loved to draw artistic stuff. But you know, I mean, he thought he was not going to succeed in life until he saw a book by Disney in his teens. Then he knew that yes, he'll be successful because he was able to figure out that he could connect his ability to draw and create cartoon characters with surviving in life and becoming an entrepreneur and a successful person. And so that's what he does now. He's a creative mentor right now at Walt Disney. So find where your giving capacities are. So just to add to the assignment I've given to you to crack yourself, I told you to start with the question of resource. The next to corroborate that with is how much of your resources are you engaging? How much of them are you using to affect the world around you? To what extent are you using them? How many lives, organizations, and institutions have you affected with your resources? How much money have you made from it? And how much impact can you make with each of them? How many lives can you transform with each of them? How much money can you make with each of them? Now, though I'll give you this assignment, this is my frequent assignment because like I told you, doing it to find out more about yourself. And the more you find out and you pursue and run with it, the more confidence you have. In the world, they call it risk, but it's just living by faith and making the moves. You don't connect the dots looking forward, but you connect looking backwards, like Steve Jobs said. But I believe we can do both. But you see somehow clearly when you've connected the dots backwards. And by faith, we can also connect looking forward. All right, so these are the things I'd like to share for this class. I think we can just go straight to the Q&A session and see what questions you have there. Okay. I had 9 questions here. We have about 5 minutes at the end of the class. Okay, so let's just proceed here. As time goes, our opinion on what we are and what we want to will change. Yeah. How are you sure you are making the right decisions? Okay, good. I like this question. You know, I mentioned that you have to keep answering these questions. This is not something you just do once and I think that that's it. No. Every single day you need clarity. You need clarity as to what to do, how to do. Clarity every single day. Even with prayers, you need plenty of clarity. And so one way you gain clarity is by asking sincere questions. And you rightly said it. Those things will change because the more we discover, we answer the questions, the more we learn more, we get smarter and we're able to make better decisions because the quality of decisions depends a lot on how much information you're exposed to. And that's why we still learn a lot, read a lot, know a number of things because you only decide based on the level of information available to you. So we learn a lot to improve the quality of our decision making, right? So you're very correct. As we move and advance, a number of things will change and improve. And that's why I said you have to keep doing it every single time, every single time, every single time. You don't do it once and just, you know, that's it. No, you discover every time. Because as you do that, you now begin to gain interests. But there's where to start from. That's why I said you start from where you have what you have and you move with that. And as you find out more, you make moves. When you become more successful and you have enough resources, you find that there's an area that you're interested in. You find out more about it, then you can make your money work for you in that area. Okay. To achieve purpose, you must have self-discipline. Oh, yes. And a strong sense of time management. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, sir. The link to download the video after this lecture so we can watch it multiple times again and again. The link actually is available, is actually being streamed already on YouTube. And we are going to leave it there. You can always go there to watch it. So the link has been shared already. Dami, if you can just take YouTube link again and paste on the chat section, just to answer this person's questions. Please, sir, I don't understand. It must be such explained. Can you please throw more light on it? Oh, okay, wow. Okay, you know what? I promised I was going to. I wrote that link somewhere. I promised I was going to. Let me see. I wrote it somewhere. Good, that's it. Now, what you can see on your screen is the link. So please just note that link. Let me see if I can copy this and put on the, just a second. So this is for those, anybody who would like to go more deeply. I'm just working with the class timing. That's why I'm going to rush. Anything that's not clear, please go back and replay, try to understand. But you know, you would like to join a workshop that I'll be creating just for those who will want to really find themselves and use this tool. You can register using this link. I'll paste it now in the chat section so you can just copy directly by yourself. I'm seeing somebody putting my check number here. I guess the person didn't hear my announcement earlier on. So I've just put the link on the chat section. You know, you would like to just register there. I don't have a time in mind presently now, but since you're registering there, your email you also put there. We can always get in touch with you and let you know when, so that we can have that session. This one will be a lot more hands-on. It won't be like the class that we just have and we just ran through. Much more hands-on, and I'll be asking you questions and you'll be responding, so it's be more engaging than this one, which is just one directional. So let's go back to the questions. So is entrepreneurship in any way related to one's destiny? Of course, of course it is. But just to also clarify, not everyone will be an entrepreneur. So entrepreneurship in this context, which made me so, of course, is that is basically using entrepreneurship as a mindset, as a way of thinking. So an employee can use entrepreneurship as a way of thinking, even though he or she is an employee working in an organization. In fact, it is recommended that, because some of you may not start your journey as entrepreneurs at the beginning. Some of you may work as employees somewhere, then maybe after you got some experiences, you want to start your own company, which is not bad, which is okay. Okay, some of you may want to start from day one, like you just want to start from day one. Some of you just want to be professionals all the rest of your lives. Nothing is bad in that. The most important thing is to find out who you are and where you best fit. And so you can maximize your life and make the best use of your life. But whatever area you will be in, it's best you cultivate the entrepreneurial mindset, because you grow faster and become the best where you are as a way of thinking. There's a class we are going to have that will talk about the levels of thinking how entrepreneurship fits into the highest level of thinking. There, okay. So yes, it does relate with your destiny. The given capacity is the ability to synchronize your resources and apply them maximally. Okay, that's part of the answer. Awesome. So can playing video games and having immense knowledge to allow you analyze football be classified under a talent? Of course, yes. But you now have to be entrepreneurial about it. So you just want to sit down playing games. Would you like to create your own games? So there's this Finland company, the makers of Angry Birds. So that was not their first game. They had failed in, I think, their first, second, third, fourth games. I think this was maybe their fifth game or so. That's Angry Birds was about their fifth, and that game made about $300 million US for them. Then they started doing brands, T-shirts of it, and they made a fortune in millions of dollars from that. Then they now made the movie Part 1, and the Part 1 made about $350 million US in the movie. That's gaming. So do you like to create content around gaming? Of course, you can make a fortune with that. Can you learn a lot by playing games? Yes, there's something that playing games do, particularly, and it also depends on the kind of games. So if for instance, like you said something here, you said analyzing football can be classified. So analyzing football somehow does something about your brain. It's about mathematics. Mathematics is not an end in itself. It's a means to an end. What mathematics does is to improve your ability to analyze. So analyzing football is basically training your ability to analyze. If you take that understanding to bring it to business, you will obviously be a very good business analyst. So somehow everything adds up. So just make sure that you are not doing it and wasting your time and energy. Just always find the link with which that will add up to your life. So if you know you love to do that, see how you can pick those experiences and take them to the place where you can make the most value. So how do you cope with starting a business if you are not yet stable academically. So you have to balance. You have to really balance. I want to make some of my comments here known, but what the force of the classroom is supposed to do is to just help you learn how to think. It won't give you everything you need to be successful in life. And that's why I said you should learn to balance everything. You can't get everything. You'll be cheating yourself if all you're getting from Covenant University is all you learn in the classroom. You really be cheating yourself. So we are in class, listen as much as possible, grab as much as possible, learn so that it will reduce your reading time. And so that when you read, you just strengthen the things that you've learned in the classroom and broaden your scope and begin to follow your heart and connect with the things that resonate with you. Learn about life, learn about money, learn about marriage. I mean, these are things that in retrospect, I'm thinking should be done even from undergraduate days. So when you're graduating, you're well balanced. Gather experiences, find where you can volunteer. I told you, particularly if you want to start as an employee, they'll ask you for minimum 2 years experience. You should start gathering experiences, find where to volunteer, do something, learn the things that they won't teach you in the classroom. Your lecturers only know the things that they teach you, and they'll share with you the things that they know, right? And that's why, they take you the courses that they take you. But what is it about your own life and what do you want to do with it? And what are the things you need to learn beyond the classroom so that you can make the most of your own life as it is. So balance both. Do well academically. I've seen people who have done well academically who have not done so much well in life. I've seen those who have done well academically and have done well in life. I've seen people who have not done well academically and they do well in life. And I've seen people who have not done well academically and didn't do well in life. So, I mean, it's all how do you want to make the most of the life that you have. So just balance both. And it's time. If you make use of your time, then you should be able to create time for your academics and create time for the other things. Instead of taking all your time and putting it in one and finding out that, oh, you should have learned a number of things too. We can all do it. It's just how to use time effectively because you can only do all in time. Sir, please, can we have access to slides? Oh, yes. I'm going to send a link on how you're going to access the slides. Okay, you can access slides. Sir, I'm a young football talent, but don't know how to kickstart my career. How do I go about it? So where do you play your football? Who has seen you? Let me use the words of Jesus Christ. He said, you don't put light on a candlestick and put it under the bushel. Rather, you put it on the table so you can give light to the whole house. Let your light so shine. This is Matthew 5. Right? So where are you letting your light shine? Who has seen you play? Are you in any group of persons who play football? Or can you make some moves and someone is video shooting you? If I go to your Instagram account, is there anything that looks as though you are a football entertainer or football guru? What's on your Instagram page? Am I seeing you more as a comedian there than a footballer? What do you really want to be known for? What light of you do you want to shine there? So let it shine, basically. If you're really good at it, then showcase it. Use the available platforms, whether Instagram and the rest of them, to showcase yourself. Somehow, those who need you will find you, but you need to position yourself in the place where they'll find you. And of course, master your craft and be good at it. As we know, entrepreneurship is related to, wow, these questions are so increasing and it's past 11. As we know, entrepreneurship is related to risks. How are we to know if we are in the right path? Now, this is another angle entirely. Of course, it's risk. Another way to look at it is working by faith. And that is why Covenant University helps us understand the importance and priority of spirituality as the primary core value and the core of the core value. Because it is with that you can have clarity and certainty that you're on the right path. Clarity and certainty. You need that very crucially in your life. Very important to balance both, right? God gave us a head to think and reason things out, But even with that, we also need Him so we can have assurance as to the kind of decisions we make and the quality of decisions we make. And I recommend that you exercise your spirituality to gain clarity also. How do we access the videos for this class after the class? Yes, you can access it. I mean, the YouTube link has been posted on the chat section. So that may please post it again so that in case it has gone down from conversations, they can see it again and follow through. And more importantly, just follow me on YouTube, Stephen Oluwatobi. That's all. So because it's being streamed on that channel. Just my name, Stephen Oluwatobi. You see it there. So just go to YouTube, search for my name. I think I put something here the other time. Let me see. Yeah, so you can check it up there. Okay, so good day, sir. You said there are 3 phases of life. Are those phases necessarily restricted to the ages you mentioned? No, because I know quite a number of people who didn't follow. Absolutely, yes. So you don't have to follow that age restriction. This is just they're just averages and ranges. Okay, averages and ranges. For instance, there are people who can start even from their teens. There are people who can start from 18. There are people who can start from 20. Okay, but when you're ready, you know you're ready. But when you're ready, you know you're ready. Like some persons gain like their mental maturity even before they're 20. There are people like that. So how quickly can you make yours happen is the question. What if my area doesn't support my talent? What do you mean your area? You mean what you're studying? I'm not sure I get this question right, but if your area you're talking about here talks about what you're studying, you're not the first in that. There are many of my colleagues who graduated from Covenant University. If you know the company, the fashion brand NAC, he studied engineering. There is nothing engineering and fashion. He's leading the top fashion brand and he studied engineering. There are many people like that. So, and that's why I said your being in school is just to help your ability to think and to reason. It may not be what you be in life or do, but somehow it can help you in whatever way that it will help you, right? But you won't use that as an excuse not to pursue your dream and build the future that you deserve. So you have to still build, sharpen, engage what your talents are. When someone feels motivational speaking is a talent, how do he work in it? I'm not sure I get this clearly, but I think it's plain. I guess what you're saying is if you feel motivational speaking is your talent, how do you work in it? I guess that's what your question is. So if that's what it is, so who is your target audience? Who are you? Who do you want to motivate? Where are they? Are they teens? Are they primary school kids? Are they your colleagues? Are they married people? Are they discouraged people? Are they depressed people? Who are the persons that you are looking at? Where are they? You can use social media to share content also to them. Those, if you are putting your content somewhere, those who have the problem and who your words, your messages, your texts, your videos, who they minister to will flock around the things that you share. And you build a community around that. So I think you should start with that. Okay? Your neighbor, people need to know that this is who you are. And that will happen if you are taking deliberate moves to actually solve their problems. Basically, those closest to you. So start from your immediate. Oh, wow, these are lots of questions. Dami, do we still have time for these questions? Okay, I think I should take some more. What's the time now? Can we still go ahead?
I think we've actually run out of time for today's class. However,
Okay.
they could post their questions, and send their emails, so that we could then respond to them via mail.
Okay, do me a favor. Can you select all the questions? Select all the questions. I think I'll just find a way by which I can engage them privately to answer their questions. But help to select all the questions so I can also answer and respond to them. That's using the Q&A section. Let me just select the questions that I've not answered yet.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate and I hope you learn a lot and do something more importantly with it. I can see the director of CDS also here. I hope she's still there. Dr. Loco, are you there? Okay, she's there. Good. So let's welcome the director of CDS to say hello to you guys and charge you guys up. Dr. Loco, you.
Yes, I'm here. Good morning to all the students. Our queens and kings of Hebron. The class has been an exciting one. I've been going through and then following through with the question and answers. And I know our queens and kings of Hebron are motivated. And then we want to get testimonies from all that have been shared. Now we want to start like the last time, you remember I told you that the best time to start is now. So we are looking forward to see those startups that will come from even these interactions while we're at home. So let's make the best use of our time. And please, let's reach out to others. Let's be our brother's keeper. There are many students that are still not connecting. There are many students that are not coming up with the lectures, both on the interactive ones on the Moodle and the ones on EduStart. So we appreciate if we can reach out to as many students that we have their contact in our, those ones we have the contact in our contact list. Let's reach out to them so that they could connect, so that they could be part of these classes, so they are not missing out. As we all know, the best time to do things are now, and then we have to know that everything surrounding COVID-19 is about the new normal. So some students are still waiting to hear when we resume, and then there's physical activities. But as we all know, our exams might even end up being written online. So please let as many students that can come up, let them come up, because we are encouraged by the number, but then we can still do more. So let's try to reach out to our friends, our colleagues, our classmates, let them know about these classes so that they can come up. Thank you very much for staying through the lectures, for your patience and for your active participation. God bless you. See you next week.
All right, guys. So I hope you have learned something. So for those who would like to be at the Smart PC workshop, please just use the link. Damn, if you can help to repost that link again, so that they can also have a look at it. So thank you very much, and God bless you all. So like the director of CDS has said, is take full advantage of what you have, share with others, and make the best use of your life. And I hope things work out smooth and well. Feel free to also reach out to me. I'll be glad to attend to you. And as I mentioned, you can follow me on YouTube and on social media, on other details as you might require. But if you're going to send me a message, please don't send me a message on Facebook. I hardly check that. So maybe you can use Twitter to send me a message on. All right. All right. Thank you very much. Father, we thank you for this class. We give you praise for the lessons learned. I ask you, Lord God Almighty, that you enable each one with grace to put to work the things that we've learned, and you now take the praise and glory in Jesus' name. All right. Have a good time and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Bye.